Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the latest in the Abrego Garcia case. Recall, Judge Zinnes has said you guys got 2 weeks of expedited discovery. You're going to have to submit declarations under penalty of perjury. You're going to have to give documents. If they're not responsive, you're going to have to sit for depositions, and they are going to go to these issues that you have stonewalled me on. What have you done to date? Best I can tell, nothing. That's in her opinion from a couple days ago. And what are you planning to do going forward? You're going to give us the answers there. Otherwise, see my colleague Jeb Boasberg and get ready for more contempt, which of course they'll appeal, etc. But I've talked about this. I think she's been very careful, thoughtful, but also solid and strong. And I think generally, my Substack from yesterday is about this. The law's on her side. This idea that they're trying to put forward of, oh, it's foreign policy, so we don't have to say anything, just doesn't fly. Besides that, they're lying about everything. Their legal position that they can just stand silent and give, name, rank, and serial number, and not even that, where it comes to what they declare to be foreign policy, just doesn't work. There's law in the Fourth Circuit and the Supreme Court. Judges still play their role of figuring out if this assertion of state secrets, etc., is solid. If need be, because a real outlandish claim, normally these kinds of things are about, we can't put this in open court, because then the cat will be out of the bag, as it were. But judges look at this all the time in chambers, and she's going to say, give it to me in chambers. And if they say no, now we're talking contempt and see the Boasberg line. In the meantime, though, the administration's doing something really lousy. Look, they made a mistake. They admitted they made a mistake. They admitted it in court. Director of Propaganda Stephen Miller actually is now trying to say that was a mistake. We didn't really make a mistake, and we have fired that lawyer, and they have done that, 15-year career. They fired him because he answered a question candidly to Judge Zinnes, and they called him, Miller did, a Democrat and a saboteur, and got rid of him. A little problem is that other officials, up to and including the Solicitor General of the United States, Sauer, who represented Trump in private practice, have also agreed we made a mistake, and they did make a mistake. So now you have Bondi coming out of the box, and this really disgusts me. It is so shabby. She is the chief federal law enforcement officer in the country, and she's coming out at these press conferences, first, of course, with the slavish praise of maximum leader, but then trying to say all these things about Abrego Garcia really is MS-13, so no harm, no foul. The information she's proffering is really discredited. It's, it's double hearsay through an informant, through a cop who has since been fired for not being candid. And the content of it, they say, well, first, he's got these Chicago Bull paraphernalia. If the Bulls depended on MS-13 for selling all their clothing, I think as good as robust a franchise as that is, it wouldn't make it. People wear Chicago Bulls for other reasons, including these things that he had on his shirt. Even if he's trying to say, yay, MS-13, that's not being a member. So that's for starters. But then they give this one-sided version, and by the informant who says that Abrego Garcia was active in this New York district where we know he has never lived. And what in fact we do know, he's a green card holder with 3 kids, 1 autistic, a steady worker, etc. So for Bondi to come out and say this discredited and partial account is already on the facts repugnant, but it's worse because who gives a shit? She's no harm, no foul is what they're trying to say. It's the Constitution. He could be the criminal mastermind, but nevertheless, they put him on mistakenly without due process. No harm, no foul. No, there is a harm. There is a foul. It's called constitutional violation. And so, they're trying to say they backed into the right answer anyway. That's not how the law and the Constitution work. You got to do it right. They didn't do it right. They made a bad screw up, to quote a very conservative judge in the Fourth Circuit who was part of this case. So even if what Pam Bondi, the chief law enforcement officer of the federal government, even if what she were saying were solid and accurate, which it is not, it's at best highly discredited, it would be totally beside the point and really contemptible. It's because a mistake was, the DOJ made a mistake. It's a constitutional violation. It has to be remedied. It doesn't matter if they could later show. They have to try to show with due process that he's a member of MS-13. For the same reason, by the way, all this tough talk about if he comes back, we're sending him away anyway. Maybe after he has due process and a chance to persuade a neutral decision maker that, in fact, he's not MS-13 as he claims, as his wife claims, as everyone claims. Oh, they're also loading up, a former restraining order and the like, just stirring up any way he can. So this is really tawdry coming, especially from the chief law enforcement officer of the U.S. Call me a little bit choir boyish about this, but it's the damn attorney general. And then it's also wrong. So anyway, we now have the depositions proceeding until I think the 23rd, next Wednesday. And then we'll see where things stand with the discovery this, 2 weeks that she's ordered. How is the United States cooperating? Is it not? Is it contempt time? And they can bundle that all together and hope the Supreme Court saves them. I don't think they will. I think these are issues that are really about just compliance with judicial orders. And I just don't see the Fourth Circuit, the D.C. Circuit, or the Supreme Court pulling out the rug from under them on these kinds of issues after the opinions they've already issued. If they do, we are in really, really grievous times. If they don't, then it'll be up to the administration. It's time now. Are they going to pull the trigger and precipitate the constitutional crisis in a context that I think is overall good because it's understandable and rank and the human stakes are so clear? Or are they going to actually do, oh my gosh, abide by the courts as any administration ever has done and will do? That's where we are. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.